Sissy's Sunday best. It was true to say that Nanny Mitchell runs somewhat of a tight ship in most aspects of her life, and her house was no different. This morning I had got up with no fuss whatsoever, unlike the previous morning when I had had to be woken up with a smack. Today was Sunday, and for the foreseeable future, that would mean Sunday school. It appeared that we were being taken to Sunday school so that Nanny Mitchell could keep up with the Joneses, something that appeared to happen rather a lot back in those days. However, in Nanny Mitchell's case, it was not so much the case of keeping up with the Joneses, it was more a case of keeping up with the likes of our Bible-thumping Auntie Shirley. I, myself, did not object so much to going to Sunday school, as I was now getting used to my recent gender change and being paraded around like a girl. However, to say this was not so much the case for Cousin Karen was a complete understatement. Cousin Karen completely objected to having to go to Sunday school, let alone church. After all, Cousin Karen was a magic girl witch in training, so anything to do with the Bible was out of the question. Without going into full details, Cousin Karen had tried to plead her case to Nanny Mitchell at the breakfast table. However, like most pleas of this nature, it fell on deaf ears. Cousin Karen was told in no uncertain terms that she was going to Sunday school and church, and that was all there was to it. She was also warned that if she wanted to argue the point anymore, she would be smacked, and smacked very hard. Little did Nanny Mitchell know, nor I come to that this threat was of little consequence to Cousin Karen. Cousin Karen had already performed a spell in order to stop smackings from being painful some weeks ago. Cousin Karen did think for a while as to whether she should further pursue the debates. However, she thought better of it. After all, there was a chance the spell might have worn off. Besides, Cousin Karen had come to the conclusion that I myself may need protection from what she saw as the manipulation of Sunday school and the church. As well as this, Cousin Karen saw herself as having a duty to protect Nanny Mitchell from a biblical brainwashing of Auntie Shirley. Although Nanny Mitchell was the grown-up and for most of the point knew her own mind, she could be easily led by anyone she viewed as upper class. Unfortunately for all concerned, she viewed people like Auntie Shirley as upper class. Naturally, both myself and Cousin Karen were helpless to stop this influence. However, Cousin Karen was a witch. Bearing this in mind, there must be something she can do. After breakfast, Nanny Mitchell cleared the breakfast things away like she normally did. However, she told me that in no uncertain terms that as from Monday, which was tomorrow, I would be responsible for clearing the breakfast things away and helping her wash up. "You are not going to be waited on hand and foot, Patricia," Nanny Mitchell informed me in a no-nonsense tone. "Things are going to change as and when Karen goes home," continued Nanny Mitchell. At this point, Cousin Karen was thinking to herself that she wished she was going home now. I, on the other hand, thought to myself that as things had changed so much in the last few days, a few more changes were not going to really make any difference. After all, in short, I had already had a gender change, which was now making me feel, act, and think differently. So bearing this main change in mind, any other changes would make little difference in my current situation. After all, I was now becoming somewhat resilient to these changes. However, little did I know that this particular change Nanny Mitchell was now talking about was going to be part of Mrs. Hegarty's and Nanny Mitchell's re-education program. Among other things, I was to be taught what was in modern times termed as domestic science, but in reality, meant domestic servitude. This may eventually mean me having to wear a complete maid's outfit, or a pinny at least. For now, though, both myself and Cousin Karen were told to go upstairs and get ready for Sunday school. We were further told that her dresses were hanging up in her bedroom. So up the creaky staircase, both myself and Cousin Karen went to retrieve our dresses from Nanny Mitchell's bedroom. By this time, Cousin Karen was starting to get a little peeved with being told what she had to wear. As stated before, her own parents, Uncle Gerald and Auntie Doreen, were both fairly liberal, and part of their liberal regime was to allow Cousin Karen to wear what she liked, within reason. However, at Nanny Mitchell's, this was not the case. So far as she was concerned, little ones did as they were told and did so without question. Once in Nanny Mitchell's bedroom, we saw the delights or horrors, whichever way you look at it, as to the attire we would be wearing to Sunday school. Hanging up on the door on Nanny Mitchell's wardrobe was two of the sissiest of dresses anyone could ever imagine. From what I could work out, the dresses had a white satin finish, with lots of frills and ruffles, with more than a fair share of pink ribbons. Believe it or not myself, I was not so fazed by what had been chosen for us to both wear. In a way, it had been expected. Cousin Karen, on the other hand, was not happy. For her, the thought of us two wearing these dresses would make us look like we had escaped from the set of Little House on the Prairie. Along with the dress were new shoes, that had been purchased the day before from the shoe shop Mrs. Hegarty managed, along with white undergarments and white ankle socks. Both myself and Karen gave each other one of our psychic looks. How Karen wished to herself she could perform a spell to give Nanny Mitchell the ability of better dress sense. However, as the saying goes, you can't have it all.